Alright, hello guys. Today we're going to be talking about Major Blizzard Ezekiel. This is the one that's going to be affecting the west coast of the United States and a lot of the northwest, southwest, and some of the midwest regions of the United States as well as some of the Rockies. Now, before I get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to check out the links in the description for our social medias. Now let's get right into things. We're going to be looking at simulated radar, but I did want to mention one thing. People were complaining, oh, why are you using the named storms that the Weather Channel uses? That's stupid, so on and so forth. I've noticed when I've used to use the names and when I didn't, I've done both, even when they're named not using the name or when they're named using the name, and I've seen a significant increase in viewership when I use the name of the storm that the Weather Channel gives them. Therefore, I'm reaching more people and keeping more people safe. So that's very important to me. And to me, the name doesn't mean that much, so I'm not really that worried about it. Anyway, with that disclaimer aside, let's get into your simulated radar here. Now, there is a storm out there near Kansas and Oklahoma. That's a completely separate storm that we made a video on earlier. But Ezekiel is out there offshore of Oregon, and it's heading onshore very, very quickly. You can see Northern California and Southern Oregon there receiving moderate to heavy snow in some regions. We are going to move on. That was this afternoon and evening. Now we are going to move on towards later this evening, and you can see the mountains of California start to really get some of that moderate to heavy snow as well as a lot of Northern California, and Nevada and Oregon are getting more and more widespread snow by this point. Now we're about to move on, and things are about to become very intense for the mountains of California and a lot of areas in Nevada as well. As you can see, we see full-on moderate to heavy snow, mostly heavy there, for the entire mountain range there in California. Very, very widespread and elongated area of very heavy snow for some of those mountain ranges in there, and that's going to lead to very heavy accumulations, upwards of 2 feet or more of snow for a lot of these high elevation regions, which is going to be very, very interesting to see play out. Now, notice we also have some bands of moderate snow going on for a lot of those other northwest states as well, and Utah and Wyoming alike. So we do see a lot of that snow being very, very widespread. As we move on towards tomorrow evening, you can see the snow on this model shows it kind of lightening up. I don't agree with this whatsoever. I think we're still going to have very widespread moderate to heavy snow by time we're in the day tomorrow. But you can see that the snow has extended to where it's touching Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, Utah, Colorado. And by later on November 27th here, maybe I would say maybe 10 p.m. here, there's still a lot of the same going on. We do see that snow becoming more heavy towards, you see, New Mexico, Arizona. There is some more precipitation coming from those areas, which is going to be very, very interesting to see play out. And as we go towards the next frame, we're about to see some very exciting things start to occur as we see very heavy snow head towards Colorado, Nebraska, Kansas, all of these regions, even to the east of the Rockies. As you can see here on this next frame, this is going to be Thursday morning, so Thanksgiving morning. We do see Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico receiving snowfall, moderate snowfall at that, by time we're at Thanksgiving morning, which is very, very interesting, as well as Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, and still the mountains of California. But remember, like I said, I think that it's going to be more widespread than this. I think this is really lightening it up for some reason, and I do not agree with that whatsoever, what this model is showing here as far as the lightening up. But the positioning, this is usually a trusted model for me. So for the Rockies and areas to the east of it, I do actually think this is pretty good. And by time we're at late on Thanksgiving, things start to look a little bit more reasonable as we have moderate to heavy snow going on for Nevada, mountains of California there, as well as some areas in Utah. Things are starting to really, really pick up by this point. And as we arrive towards Friday, November 29th, the morning time, things become very, very widespread as we see mountaintop snowfall going on for Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, Colorado, Nevada. All of these states receiving very, very heavy snowfall in the high elevation areas, which is going to lead to, again, areas receiving easily over a foot of snow for a lot of these regions. And in California, even 2 feet plus in some regions as well. Our snowfall forecast will be at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that, of course. As we head towards later on Friday, November 29th, you can see that we do have very, very widespread light to moderate to even heavy snow in some regions, especially for the Midwest, becoming very, very interesting to see there, as we have very heavy widespread snow for some of those regions that are getting snow from our first storm as well. So the areas that are going to be really close to the bullseye of both of these are going to end up having a ton of snow after both of these storms are said and done. Now we're about to move on, and things are about to continue to be very, very exciting for the Midwest portions of the United States. Now, as we head on towards the morning time of November 30th, is going to be a Saturday. Again, that very widespread moderate snow is extending all the way from Wyoming and Montana eastward through the Dakotas and into, again, those Midwest states, Minnesota, Wisconsin. This is far in the future. This is 4 days away, and our storm is starting right now. So this is going to be a very prolonged storm, actually. It's going to last extremely long. We see those Rockies, those southern Rockies especially, still receiving moderate snow by this point, which is very interesting. And that's going to really be what leads to tons and tons of accumulation. As we head towards, this is going to be Sunday afternoon on December 1st. We see that storm has really moved over to the Great Lakes and Midwest. I'm not showing that because it's so far in the future it doesn't even matter. So I just wanted to focus on the very western United States for this video in the kind of stuff we can forecast now. But there is eventually probably going to have to be a Great Lakes and northeastern United States forecast for this same storm. But that's already, almost a week away because of how long this storm is going to last. Now here's your total wind on this one. This is the windiest frame, so I just picked the windiest one. This would be blizzard conditions in some of these greens and yellow colors if snow is falling there for South Dakota, Nebraska, and Wyoming. So we could have a second blizzard on our hands. I'm calling it a blizzard because there is going to be enough wind with this one. It just depends if we really see those conditions or not, but I would say it warrants a few blizzard warnings. So back-to-back blizzards here right before Thanksgiving. And don't undermine this one. I know I mentioned how much the travel impacts will be felt from the first one. For Dorothy, I guess is what we were naming it. Now, with this one, Ezekiel, we also are going to have even heavier Thanksgiving impacts for some regions just because of the fact that it's going to be falling on Thanksgiving. That's about as impactful as it can get. Now, we're about to get into our official snowfall forecast for this one, which is going to be super exciting. I even break out the very last bar on my snow accumulation bar at the top. So we're going to pull out the 30 to 48 inch range here, the red one, which I've never ever done before in the history of direct weather, which is insanely exciting to me. Let's get right into it. All right, so here's our dusting to 3-inch layer. You can see it takes up a lot of space here from the Northwest down through California, Nevada, Four Corner States, and all the way up to the Midwest and Great Lakes. So you can see I'm not forecasting east of there, but this eventually looks to potentially impact the northeastern United States as well. Again, going to have a future update on that one for those folks out there. Now, here's our 3 to 6-inch layer, this blue layer. Again, coasts of Oregon, down through into California, a lot of California getting the 3 to 6-inch layer. Almost all of Nevada, Utah, a lot of these states in the Four Corner States, the Rockies, and then all the way up into the Midwest once again. Let's add our 6 to 10-inch layer, which is just all over the place. This map probably took me about 2 or 3 hours to make, and usually they only take about 20 minutes, I would say, maximum. So this one took significantly longer, and you can probably tell why, because this one just looks like paint was just splattered onto the screen, and the reason why it's that way is because this is an elevation storm. The elevation is going to play so much into this, so I basically just had to figure out where the heaviest precipitation is going to be and how high up everybody is, and that's why it looks this way. Let's add our 10 to 15-inch layer, and you can see this is where we're becoming a lot more isolated. The mountaintops of the Four Corner States are all in this region. We see a lot of those hills in central Nevada, and then the mountains of California as well in the 10 to 15-inch range, as well as the mountains of Oregon, and then a lot of those regions in the Midwest as well. Now, let's also add our 15 to 20-inch region, which again is mostly just for mountaintops besides the Midwest. We see areas in California, Oregon, Nevada, Four Corner States, and some of those central Rockies as well, all seeing their mountaintops receive 15 to 20 inches of snow. Let's add our 20 to 30-inch layer here. You can see some of those mountaintops in the Four Corner States are going to be potentially reaching over 20 inches of snow, as well as a little region up there in Minnesota. but really this is mostly a California storm by this point, as we have pretty widespread 20 to 30 inch amounts, which is very, very exciting. And then last but not least, our first time ever using the 30 to 48 inch range, this red range, for some of those mountains down there in Southern California, Southern Colorado, and then some of the mountains there for California as well. And this is not very uncommon for California to see this much snow, but definitely interesting to see me break out the 30 inch to 2 feet range there, which I've never done before, like I said before. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Be sure to share it with your friends and family on social medias. As always, see you guys later.